What do you remember about the 1985 Patriots? I'm Mike Dussault, content creator for the New England Patriots and lifelong fan. And as a local kid who grew up a few towns away from Foxborough, this is the first Patriots team I can recall. At 9 years old, the 85 Patriots Super Bowl run was a phenomenon still clear in my mind. I had all their football cards, the t-shirts, the painter's cap, Squish the Fish, Bury the Bears. For a generation like mine who saw the Patriots start winning Super Bowls as adults, this was the Patriots team that foreshadowed what was to come. Only we didn't know it then, and we sure didn't know it as the team fell back into the doldrums in the late 80s and early 90s. I went back and rewatched the 85 season in order, game by game. At 9 years old, you know the names, but you don't truly know the football players. Rediscovering how good they were made me see the 1985 season through an entirely different lens. I talked to many of the players and coaches who lived it, even Pat Sullivan, the son of Patriots founder Billy Sullivan, and the GM who put the 85 team together with purpose. What I found was that the 1985 team deserves their due, even in the face of the overwhelming success that followed decades later. 1985 was the culmination of something special that had been brewing in Foxborough since the mid-70s. They were the first NFL team to win 3 playoff road games. They were the first Patriots team to ever win an AFC championship and the first Patriots team to ever appear in a Super Bowl. They blazed a pathway that would be much traveled over the next 4 decades. But more than that, they were a special team that was flush with special people across the ranks, on and off the field. That translated to special results, and a trailblazing Patriots team that made New England fans believe. That's why now, 40 years later, we're going back again to tell their story and how they etched their names into team and league history. This is a Patriots Super Bowl Sound Odyssey, 1985.
After a stop by Tippett. Annihilated might be a better word.
Intercepted. Patriots. David Claiborne. Arches back. Touchdown. New England. The defense scores. Grogan's back looking to throw. Fires this one to Pryor. Touchdown. Stanley Morgan. Touchdown. Still going as Robert Withers out. 35 to 40 to 25 to 20. 50 to 5. He's got it all. Touchdown. There's Irving Pryor running it all the way for a touchdown. 85 yards. Irving Pryor. Decent rolling out to the right side. Avoiding the pressure. On the run. He throws. Complete for a touchdown. Lynn Dawson in the end zone. 6 points, Patriots. Touchdown, Patriots. Tony Collins. The Patriots have the lead.
Episode 1, Dreams of the 70s.
Congratulations, Mr. Sullivan. It had to be just a gratifying year for you this year.
Ahmad, I must say this, that if there's a happier man in the world than I don't know who he is.
Before 1985, the Patriots were a team shaped by 2+ decades of near misses, heartbreak, and hard-earned lessons. It stretches back to the AFL days, through the rise and fall of Chuck Fairbanks, and into the turbulent early 80s, where a talented team just couldn't seem to put it all together, until they did. The Boston Patriots began with a dream. Team founder Billy Sullivan believed football could thrive in the region. His son Pat Sullivan began his career with the team as a ball boy in 1960 and ascended to become the GM in 1983.
Well, my dad's vision was pretty straightforward. He basically believed that football could survive in New England or in Massachusetts or even in Boston, for that matter. There were 3 preceding teams that were National Football League teams in Boston. They didn't succeed for various reasons, and he just felt that there was enough of an interest in football in this region to make a go of it.
Founded in 1960, Sullivan's Patriots would pick up their first AFL playoff win 3 years later, knocking off the Buffalo Bills at War Memorial Stadium in 1963.
33,040 of the world's greatest fans jam Buffalo's War Memorial Stadium in biting 24-degree December 28th temperature. It's all for the Eastern Division Championship. Pirelli takes the Bills beyond the point of no return. He hits Capoletti with a look-in pass, and Gino carries it 51 yards all told.
A week later, the Patriots fell to the Chargers in the AFL Championship by a lopsided 51-10. It would be their final playoff game for 13 years.
Fatal climax is this drive by Doonan himself, diving over from the 1 for the final score. And man, oh man, look at the scoreboard for this championship ball game. San Diego Chargers, new world champions 51, Boston Patriots 10.
In 1973, the seeds began to take root around an eventual team Hall of Famer named Julius Adams, a defensive lineman who would anchor the team's defense for 16 years. Head coach Chuck Fairbanks also arrived that year, as did a special draft class that would lead the Patriots to eventual relevance.
At the outset of the 1974 season, the New England Patriots were charted as merely an improved team. Despite facing an unrelenting schedule that included 5 of the 8 playoff teams of 73, team confidence was high and the young squad was eager for competition.
Future team and Pro Football Hall of Famer John Hannah was selected 4th overall, with record-setting running back and fellow team Hall of Famer Sam Bam Cunningham following as the 11th overall pick, and wide receiver Darryl Stingley, rounding out a trio of first-rounders at 19th overall.
The completely rehauled New England team is led by new coach Chuck Fairbanks and 3 number 1 draft choices, blue chips all. They are fullback Sam Cunningham, wide receiver Darryl Stingley, and guard John Hannah.
Team Hall of Famer Steve Nelson was drafted in 1974 and would become another decade-long defensive stalwart.
Finally, Nelson crept back into the hole and shot past the befuddled Dolphin blockers to nail Greasy.
Then tight end Russ Francis and quarterback Steve Grogan were selected in 1975.
New England's second touchdown was scored by tight end Russ Francis, their number 1 draft choice from Oregon State.
Pro Football Hall of Fame cornerback Mike Haynes was selected 5th overall in 1976.
New England selects Mike Haynes, defensive back, Arizona State.
While Team Hall of Famer and 3-time Pro Bowl cornerback Raymond Claiborne joined him in the defensive backfield in 1977.
Claiborne using his tremendous speed to sprint over 100 yards for a touchdown.
Nelson recalled Patriots teams that had the talent but just couldn't get over the hump.
When I was drafted in 74, we were, kind of a bad team, and but 74 we were, 500 or something close to that, and there wasn't many seasons, that we were under 500. My 14 years, I maybe 4 or 5 teams, and I know that's a lot, but I think we got a stigma of being, because of all the success with the other teams, with the Red Sox and Celtics and the Bruins, and we were kind of the 4th team in the city.
Suddenly, the Patriots had the right talent at the right spots, despite going 15-27 under Fairbanks over his first 3 seasons. In 1976, it all started to click.
The Patriots 2-1 and smiling. 2 weeks ago, the Dolphins fell 30-14. Last week, the Steelers 30-27. Are the Raiders to be surprising New England's next victim this week?
They were really great football teams, really well-rounded, great offense, great defense, great special teams. Grogan, Darryl Stingley, Russ Francis, Sam Cunningham, John Hannah, Sam Adams. You name it. I mean, we had all the ingredients.
The day was all New England's as they surprisingly, shockingly, and smashingly devastated one of the fine teams in the NFL. And after an opening day loss to Baltimore, who could have guessed that New England would be 3-1 at this point in the season? For they have in 3 consecutive games upset the Miami Dolphins, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Oakland Raiders. And the way this fine young football team has looked, maybe, just maybe, those wins weren't upsets at all. The New England Patriots look like they're for real.
The Patriots were 11-3 in 1976 and were the only team all season long to beat the Oakland Raiders, taking an early season 48-17 September win in New England.
There's no fan like a Raider fan. They love their team and they never forget a loss. Into this milieu come the New England Patriots, who have the unenviable task of beating Oakland for the 2nd time in 1 year.
In their first playoff appearance since the early 60s, it will be a rematch, this time in Oakland against the now 14-1 Raiders.
Get down, goal to go. The ball at the 2.5-yard line. Grogan has his Patriots lined up. Everybody tight. Phillips banging in. He's got the touchdown. Right off the right side. Let Carter Sam Adams and Bob McKee. They open the hole, and Jess Phillips goes in from 3 yards out. And the Patriots are out in front by a score of 20-10.
The Patriots took a 21-10 lead into the 4th quarter, but the Raiders quickly put together 2 late drives.
So Van Egan from 2 yards out goes in for the score. It's now 21-16. His 4th touchdown of the year. Spotted down. The kick is up by man, and it is good. There's a timeout on the field with a score. New England 21, Oakland 17.
With Oakland driving to take the lead, there was a controversial roughing the passer call on Ray Sugar Bear Hamilton in the 4th quarter. setting up Oakland's go-ahead score to complete the comeback and tear out the hearts of the Patriots and their fans.
On 3rd and 18, number 71, Raymond Hamilton, was called for roughing Ken Stabler. Instead of an incompleted pass and a 4th and impossible situation, Chuck Fairbanks' team was against the wall, with the Raiders at the 1. A storm of controversy clouded the scrimmage line. After winning all the battles, the New England Patriots were about to lose the war.
The roughing the passer on Sugar Bear will go down in history.
The final score, the Oakland Raiders 24, the New England Patriots 21.
Oakland scored with 10 seconds left on the clock. They had come in like a lamb and gone out a lion. Their dramatic turnaround from 3-11 to 11-3 was unprecedented in league history. They will be back.
It was a moment that would echo into the 1980s and beyond. The rivalry with the Raiders was born as Oakland moved on toward their first Super Bowl title in franchise history.
The Raiders closing in on the Super Bowl championship. Francis back to pass. Throw the sideliner. Picked off. It's going to be a touchdown. Willie Brown. 45-40, 35-30, 25-20. Old man Willie. He's going all the way.
2 years later, in 1978, the Patriots didn't just win. They ran through the league. Their rushing attack set an NFL record with 3,165 yards on the ground, a mark that stood for over 40 years. But it got off to a tragic start when Darryl Stingley was paralyzed in a preseason game in Oakland after a vicious hit by safety Jack Tatum.
Grogan will put it in the air. Oh! The intended receiver is Darryl Stingley. The man he ran into is Jack Tatum, and Stingley was down.
The Patriots would pull together and plow over the league with the best offense in the NFL. Just as the league changed the rules to loosen up the passing game, the Pats leaned into the potent backfield of Sam Bam Cunningham, Horace Ivory, Andy Johnson, and quarterback Steve Grogan, who was one of the earliest dual-threat QBs.
Grogan to throw, a rare tossing chance, and he's going to scramble and has running room. That is something we're going to continue to feature as Andy Johnson skips through a hole and picks up 9 more yards. Up the middle, Cunningham. Sam Bam might go all the way.
Center Pete Brock was one of the key blockers up front.
Well, 78 was a special season. That record stood until 2019 when Baltimore beat it. That was a special group of guys. That was, you know, it wasn't just the running backs. It was, you know, the offensive line and the belief that we had that we could. We went into games, you know, with 6, maybe 8 core plays that we knew we could run against any defense that we faced.
Steve Grogan joined Ivory, Cunningham, and Johnson to give the Patriots 4 500-yard rushers.
We were going to run the football, and we were to the point where if you didn't throw the ball and it gained 15 yards, it was a waste of time because we could run for that 8 yards that you wanted.
It was smash-mouth football, built on a stable of ferocious blockers and game-breaking runners. Grogan's mobility added a layer of unpredictability that would become a hallmark of the league 40 years later. Second-year wideout Stanley Morgan, another future team Hall of Famer, emerged as the deepest of deep threats, stretching the field and keeping the defense honest.
Grogan's 75-yard mastery to Stanley Morgan, number 86, illustrated New England's ability to strike instantly from long range, a Patriot pattern this year.
Patriots made the playoffs once again, but this time it wasn't a controversial call that overshadowed the postseason. It was the pending departure of their head coach Chuck Fairbanks, who had been suspended, then reinstated for the playoffs as he eyed a move to the University of Colorado.
I would have to say that it's a tremendous disappointment to me. I think that Chuck Fairbanks came here when the team was at a low ebb and has made it one of the most respected teams in the league. And it was a difficult decision.
Patriots were listless against the Houston Oilers, quickly falling into a 21-0 hole.
It is caught. Ken Burra will score. Ken Burra with an all-out blitz by New England. 74 yards in the drive. And watch him tiptoe down the sideline. Campbell breaks it. Campbell to the 50. Campbell finally pushed out of bounds. Campbell. He's got it. Right in the corner, Earl Campbell.
The 31-14 loss at home was a disappointing ending for a record-setting team and a franchise that had still never won a playoff game since the NFL merger. Despite a talented roster and playoff appearances in 76 and 78, the franchise was about to enter another playoff drought. Steve Nelson didn't expect it to work out that way.
You know, it's funny when you have success when you're young because, you know, on the 76 team, when we played the Raiders and, you know, we had success and we thought, you know, we're going to be good every year. We're going to be in the hunt every year now because we got a young team. Got Steve Grogan's our quarterback, and Steve's the second year in the league, and we got players around him. All are young. John was young. Everybody was young. But this doesn't work out.
Things bottomed out in 1981 with a 2-14 record, and a new head coach, Ron Meyer, arrived in 1982. Meyer never had a losing season, but also led the Patriots to just a single postseason loss in the strike-shortened 1982 season, squeaking in with a 5-4 record, only to be once again dismissed by a 28-13 score to the Dolphins. It was New England's 13th straight loss in Miami, dating back to the early 70s, a continuing area of frustration for the franchise.
But I remind you of the fact that until this year, they'd been under the same system. Chuck Fairbanks, I believe, came to New England in 1973, and Ron Earhart succeeded him, so they were basically under the same system. This is the first year in a Ron Meyer system, and they're 5-4, as you said. There are some real positives.
Talent departed. Team Hall of Fame left tackle Leon Gray was traded to New Orleans after 1978. Haynes was traded to the Raiders, winning a Super Bowl of his own in 1983. Russ Francis briefly retired before moving on to the 49ers, where he'd win a Super Bowl in 1984. From the 1978 record-setting backfield, Sam Bam Cunningham was traded, and Andy Johnson retired.
At one point there was a purge of an awful lot of great players. I mean, Russ Francis, Mike Haynes, Tim Fox, Sam Cunningham. I could, name several others. Just were gone, not signed, and come back. So it kind of gutted that core, consistent leadership that we had in the locker room for some reason or not.
By the early 80s, many of the key pieces from the late 70s were gone, but a core remained, and replacements began to arrive. Patrick Sullivan was named GM in 1983 and immediately set out to make the most of what he had left with the 70s holdovers, building around them with a new stable of backs that included Tony Collins, Craig James, and physical fullbacks Mosi Tutupu and Robert Weathers.
So my thought in 83 was, some of those guys had already retired, but a lot of those guys were still, in their early to mid-30s in 1985. And I thought we could take advantage of their skill, their experience, their tradition of winning games, which they developed in 76, 77, and 78. and then take that core and add to it, and that's exactly what we did.
On defense, an emerging outside linebacker was showing what he could do when given the chance, as a championship defense began to come together.
But the defenders arrived, led by Andre Tippett, who made a perfectly timed hit.
And White nailed by Andre Tippett, his 13th sack of the year for Tippett.
He might be the most devastating player in the NFL.
Where'd it go, D?
He can turn a game around individually, and that's very difficult for a defensive player to do.
Andre Tippett played just 9 games as a rookie in 1982, but began to put the league on notice with 8.5 sacks in 1983, followed by a whopping 18.5 in 1984. Now the Patriots had a legitimate superstar hunting quarterbacks.
These guys never gave me a legitimate shot, and I was kind of pissed about that. So as 83 came around, 84, I kind of was sending my own message. You guys sit me around and not let me compete. I said, well, let me show you. I'm going to get my opportunity. Because people kept telling them, you got to put this kid in. Even Myers, you got to put this kid in. You got to put this kid in. And then finally, it happened. I got in. I did what I knew I was capable of doing.
Tippett would be one of the finishing touches on an elite defense that would peak in the mid-'80s and earn a spot as one of the greatest Patriots defenses of all time.
We had some leadership, some real leadership that kind of understood what needed to get done. And then you got that new breed of players coming in, like myself and some of my other teammates, and then the guys that we drafted over the next couple of years, Ronnie Lepet, Fred Marion was in my class. We already had Roland James on the team. So we had some good quality football players that led by example. And with that, we all stepped up our game because we knew that we had to match that energy and we had to do something to separate us from guys that were tapping at our heels.
Andre Tippett was a tremendous player, and Donnie Blackman was a great player, and Larry McGrew and Johnny Rembert. We had such depth at the linebacker position, and we had a lot of Raymond Claiborne was a terrific player, Freddie Marion, Ryan Lepet. It was just Roland James. It was on defense. It was a really good collection of older players and younger players, and had great coaches.
After a 5-3 start to the 1984 season, Sullivan replaced Ron Meyer with Hall of Fame wide receiver Raymond Berry, who had been a receivers coach with the Pats from 1978 to 1981. Berry had stuck around the area and was working in real estate when the call came in for him to return to the coaching staff, this time as the head coach. Berry's impact on the players was immediate, and he would become one of the most influential pieces of the success that was to follow.
It was a bit chaotic with Coach Meyer, and we were going to waste another year, a year and a half of that core group that you brought up initially. We were going to waste another year and a half of their career unless we brought in somebody that would bring in instant credibility with the players and instant stability. And that's what Raymond did.
One member of Meyer's staff would stick around and continue a career with the New England Patriots that would span 34 years and include 5 of their 6 titles. Dante Scarnecchia.
We came up here from SMU. Coach Meyer brought 6 assistant coaches up here. And to your initial point, yes, there were a lot of good players. There was enough to get it done, and a lot of good guys, a lot of high character guys. And so, I mean, the cupboard definitely wasn't half empty, you know.
Meyer and Scarnecchia were joined by record-setting running back Craig James, who, along with Eric Dickerson, was famous for the Pony Express backfield at SMU. The Patriots took a late-round flyer on James in the 1983 draft when he initially opted for the USFL, and then welcomed him to the backfield in 1984 when he jumped to the NFL.
Ron Meyer was not an X and O guy. I mean, he knew football, but he was a talent guy, and he knew great assistant coaches, and he had a staff that was phenomenal. Steve Sidwell, Dante Scarnecchia. There was all of them were world-class coaches, assistant coaches, and he made them make sure we knew what we were doing as athletes, and he knew an athlete, and so he knew what you could or could not do, and he'd put you in position to have success.
Berry is liked by his players, and he knows how to communicate with them.
I could just see the fact that it was just a matter of time if they kept doing the things they were doing, was they were playing great effort football, and they were just giving it everything they had. And when you do that, you just hang in there. It's going to pay off, and that's what I told them.
Berry led the 84 Pats to a 4-4 record the rest of the way, but made significant progress, earning the players' trust while rebuilding the culture.
Well, Raymond was, I think, more than anything, he was a completely different personality than Ron. You know, Ron's a really good coach, and we had a lot of success at SMU. And like I said, we got in the playoffs the first year here. But, you know, it just, it wasn't a good fit, however you want to dice it. And Raymond came in, was more of a calming influence on everyone. And he had huge respect amongst the veteran players because he had been on the previous staff to us when we got there. And, you know, Raymond Berry's a Hall of Fame football player.
And he spent the rest of that season not so much inserting his own system or anything like that, but getting to know the players and making us all feel like we were, you know, part of something. He knew everybody's names. He studied who they were, you know, their spouses and their families and their kids' names and everything like that.
Running back Tony Collins would also benefit from the switch, recapturing his 1983 Pro Bowl form and leading the 1985 team in receptions.
He was an amazing coach. I mean, of course, he was an amazing player, but I think he was just as good of a coach as he was a player because, you know, the time that he was with New England and what he did, not just the winning part, the way he coached us, man. I always remember Coach Berry as a father figure, and I looked up to him, and I still look up to him today because of that.
The team was a blend of eras: the old guard from the 70s, the bruised but battle-tested core of the early 80s, and a new wave of talent led by a familiar coach worthy of Hall of Fame respect. It was the right mix at the right time.
Pryor, touchdown! Ray James, touchdown! Stanley Morgan, touchdown! Intercepted. Patriots, David Claiborne, arches back, touchdown! New England, touchdown! Robert Weathers, they put the game away! Touchdown! Patriots, Tony Collins, the Patriots have the lead.
But the Raiders were always there. The ghosts of the 70s lingered, and the losing in Miami continued. The 85 Patriots would get their chance to right those wrongs, and they wouldn't miss.
It's intercepted. Fred Marion on his way. This game is over. The New England Patriots have upset the Los Angeles Raiders 27-20.
You saw one of the finest games this year, maybe the second finest. You will see the finest next week.
We got this, bud. This ain't stopping us now. We're going to win the next one.
Next time, Raymond Berry brings his team together with surprising expectations and focused attention to detail as they prepare to embark on the 1985 season.